Yesterday we accomplished the unthinkable. We actually set out on a journey to make a rail that I was genuinely proud of, and we actually did it. I walked out to the shop this morning and I was just kind of looking at it for a little bit because we finished it at nighttime, so this was actually my first time seeing it in daylight. Like, sure, I mean, obviously to someone that welds for a living, I mean, these welds are garbage, but compared to what I was making even 2 weeks ago, this is like, I blew my own mind with this. It feels super whack just to like sit here and compliment myself, but at the same time, like, I need to recognize my wins, and this rail was our first real win in terms of like things we've made to skate. Now, all of that being said, our last big win with the CNC plasma cutter were these fingerboard rails that we got pretty much finished, like fully prepped and everything. They just need their legs. Based on the success of this rail, for better or for worse, that boosted my confidence up a lot, and I think we're finally ready to make that bank to rail that we've been talking about here. The only thing is that we need more metal for that, and I've just been spending on all of this plate metal and tubing to start these projects. I really need to start finishing some of these projects so I can get them up on my website so we can fund the fabrication journey and get some more stuff going. These fingerboard rails have really been my ticket to go get more material on a bigger scale, at least. I just gotta actually finish them. Also, it is a toasty day today, so we are bringing out the circulator, and I want to go open the doors over here just to get some cross flow. We'll get this bad boy open right there, just so it can kind of shoot the air directly through it, and we have some circulation. I'm not quite sure how much of the fan noise the camera audio picks up, but I'm sorry. I need that air. It's hot, man. This process is probably getting pretty repetitive for a lot of you. We're pumping up the air compressor right now. Let's fill this water table up. Let's knock this out. We're pretty much metal fabrication pros at this point. Cuts to just like something disastrous happening. Knock on wood. Let's not talk that one into existence. Water table full, air compressor full, air compressor hose hooked up, CNC table on, plasma cutter on. Now we actually have to make our design. I figured this would be a great time to showcase my extreme professional level skill. These are some previous fingerboard rails that I have made in the past, and I really like this size foot compared to this one. It's a 1/2 inch longer, just makes it look bigger and more stable. This one's 2.5 inches in length. This one is 3 inches, which is huge, and then 1/2 inch in width, or whatever we're calling that. Like I said, pretty much operating at a professional level of skill here. Check this out. As you can see here, we bring out our rectangle tool and we make a rectangle, and then this is where things just get crazy. Look at this. We set this measurement to 0.5. Boom. Set this measurement to 3 inches. Boom. There it is. Round of applause. I'm so good at everything I do. I really hope that you're able to pick up on the sarcasm there. Okay, so now I actually do have to go through and cam it, which is where, like I said, so design is one thing. I have a tendency of over-explaining, but it really helps me retain information, and some people find it educational. For CNC plasma cutting, or even like the CNC router, or CNC anything, essentially, there's CAD, which is computer-aided design, which is actually designing the design that you're designing. And then there's CAM, which is computer-aided manufacturing, and that's where you're programming the machine to cut out the thing that you design. Our design is very simple. It's a rectangle, and now we go over here to manufacture, and then I gotta go through and change a couple settings depending on what thickness of metal we're using, and here I have my little cheat sheet that I use. Then you gotta go through and tell it where to cut, which, because this is just a rectangle, very simple. It's gonna cut on the outside where that little red arrow is. Change a couple settings here, again based on our material thickness, using my little cheat sheet for reference. We go ahead and click post, and our rectangle is done. Now we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26, 27, 28 fingerboard rails that need feet. Yes, I'm using a calculator for this. 28 times 2 equals 56, so we need 56 rectangles. We're gonna go ahead and use, let's see, this is 10 gauge and this is 12 gauge. We'll go thicker. We're gonna go with the 10 gauge. You know, GGFB. God, that's heavy. GGFB fingerboard obstacles. We don't skimp out on material here. Probably be a much more profitable business if I did, but I'm not. So we toss our material on there. there, just like that. With our plate in place, we have our single rectangle, but I'm gonna pattern that and do 10 rows and 6 columns. That'll give us 60 total, and when I generate it, that is what we're getting. With the machine zeroed in the corner there and everything set, it all looks good. I think we put on our eye condoms and it's go time. Now we say a little prayer to the CNC gods that this all works out fine, and here we go. Yeah, I mean, we have a whole lot more to make, so I'm gonna just time-lapse you guys, and I guess we'll hope they come out. All right, W's in the chat. I think that those all look like they went well. I did just realize something. It's not a big deal at all. I went to pick one of these up and I was like, huh, those do look kind of like thin. Not like thin in terms of thickness, but thin like width-wise. And I guess by 1/2 inch, I meant 3/4 inch, because these are half. I guess these ones were 3/4 inch. I guess I made up for not using the thinner metal by accidentally making them a little less wide. But I mean, it should still be, I mean, yeah, that'll still be totally fine, especially with the extra thickness. The weight will be nice, so we're good. Now I know for next time though that I do just think 3/4 inch looks a little better, so I'll do that next time. You know what they say, measure once and then wish you measured 3 more times. A lot of them actually fell into the water though, so I'm gonna go ahead and drain the table just so they're easier to all fish out. Yummy, look at that. Now we can pluck out our little children. Yeah, these came out really good. It looks like there's actually no cleanup that's gonna be needed, which is really nice. Here are all of our little feet that we just cut out, and here are the rails that need their feet. And quick little educational segment here because I need the refresher. There's 2 types of, well, there's actually more than 2 types of welding, but my knowledge consists of 2 types of welding: MIG welding and TIG welding. This handy dandy little Harbor Freight welder that I have does both MIG and TIG, but once you get into like professional level welding, you usually get either a MIG machine or a TIG machine. I'm not a professional. I have very basic entry-level beginner knowledge of all of this. If you're actually interested in this, do your research elsewhere. Don't listen to me, I'm pretty clueless. I just want to share my understanding of it. This is a MIG welding gun, and you can see there's a wire coming out of the end there, and as you weld, that wire feeds through the tip there, and it makes these sort of like globular globs. Oh god, never mind. Those are embarrassing. We don't want to talk about those. The rail that we made, this is all MIG welded using that MIG gun that feeds the wire in and makes the, you know, the stereotypical weld look that you see. TIG welding uses a different looking torch. This is a TIG torch, and it's a little bit different looking. We have that little pointy thing sticking out of there is my little tungsten tip. That's also what never mind. MIG welding uses an argon and CO2 gas mixture, whereas TIG welding uses just 100% pure argon. Completely different styles of welding, and TIG is usually, it's a lot cleaner. You can also TIG weld, well, I can't, but people can also TIG weld aluminum, although that's a whole nother ballpark. TIG welding is, I believe, more advanced. Let's see, I'm trying to kind of demonstrate here. With MIG welding, you just use one hand. You kind of point and shoot, and that wire will come out, and as it contacts, it makes the circuit, or I don't even know how welding works, I'm not gonna lie to you. With TIG welding, on the other hand, you use 2 hands, and it's kind of crazy. Oh, and there's a foot pedal. I forgot to show you that. So my TIG setup has a foot pedal. You essentially use the torch to start the circuit and then make the heat, and then this hand you have a filler rod that you kind of feed into there. 2 completely different styles of welding. Now, when I do my fingerboard rails, not saying this is the right way, this is just what I've always done, and I love the way that it looks, and it's structurally fine. I don't use my left hand with that little filler rod, so you can see I'm literally just melting the metal together. I'm not adding new material. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone. See those globs? That's material being added, although this was with MIG welding. TIG welding, if you're using your left hand to feed it metal, you do still get some globular action, but because these are such small scale, I choose to just use the torch to heat it up enough to melt them together. It's called fusing. You would never want to fuse you'd never want to fuse like a real skateboard rail. You need to add filler because it's going to be under load and under pressure. But because these are such small scale, like it's completely, like I've never had one of these break actually, unless you like stomp, like you can break it if you try, but you know what I mean. So I haven't even used this welder for TIG welding since moving into the new house. And even before then, I hadn't touched it in almost 4 months. In other words, I was never good to begin with, but I am rusty now. I'm just gonna get a little practice on this little scrap piece of angle iron. I am gonna practice with the filler metal just to get the feel for it again. Oh yeah, foot pedal also. So depending on how hard you push the foot pedal in, controls the amp rate. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. I just want a little bit of practice before I actually start putting these rails together. I don't use it much, but I should still have, oh yeah, that's nice and organized, Garrett, good job. This here is that filler metal that I'm talking about. I will say though, take everything that I'm saying with a grain of salt because I really am pretty clueless. This is just what I've gathered online. I guess we just go for it. I mean, I did it. It's not very straight. I'll do a couple little lines and then I'll show you. Okay, yeah, I mean, I think we're just gonna go for it. There is a whole science to welding to begin with, but TIG welding especially. That top one was attempt number 1, that second one was attempt number 2, and that third one was attempt number 3. They're all really, really bad. All right, we have our rail all lined up on the feet, and let's get her together. Okay, where do I even begin with this voiceover? Essentially, this was a perfect example of a time where I let my frustration get the better of me. I was running into an issue. It's called porosity in welding, where essentially you have air bubbles in your welds. And usually it's caused by a lack of shielding gas, you know, that argon gas that I was talking to you about. If oxygen gets into your welds, it can make it bubbly. And it's something that I have, you know, experience with. And I've always been able to troubleshoot it myself. And I'd never run into it on this severe of a scale. And I kind of just chalked it up to be like, oh, it's because I haven't welded in so long. Like the first couple might come out bad. I can sell those as blemishes or whatever. And then since filming this, I was able to troubleshoot it and figure out what the issue was. I should have taken a step back and figured it out. And instead, I just kind of hastily rushed through them all, which I'm not super proud of. But I talk about it more in the video. So let's resume. Oh man, dude, I don't even know where to. I am so unbelievably frustrated right now. I can't even put it into words. I don't know what's going on. I'm not happy with a single one of these. I'm super bummed out right now. That's annoying. That took almost 7 hours, 6.5 hours. I'm not happy with a single one of those. I think I'm just too rusty. I had such different plans for this video and the sun setting already. I wanted to hammer out all those rails, have a full fingerboard session, get them up on the website, and like have it be this sick thing. I'm gonna list every single one of these as a blem or as a blemish. They're called blems. Usually I list them for 35 bucks. I'm gonna list them for 20 just in case anyone's interested in getting, you know, a lower price point, even though it's gonna be a blem. I'm pretty bummed on that, dude. I don't know what happened. I know that I'm not good at TIG welding. I never have been, but like I've made probably I've probably made like 400 rails before. I've never once ran into the issues that I was running into. Some of them are better than others, but I was getting bubbles in the weld, and like usually that means you're not getting enough gas or you're getting too much gas, so I was adjusting my flow rate. I tried every single troubleshooting thing that I knew, and some of them just still came out super bubbly. It really is like such a minuscule detail that, again, like unless you weld, you wouldn't even notice. I really do take pride in my work, and I usually would throw these away. That's too much material to waste, and I know that some people are interested in buying the blems. It's just unfortunate that I had to throw away like 3 of them because I actually ruined them. Look at these turkeys, bro. They're trying to steal my rails. I started painting some of them too. We have some over there and some over here. I mean, honestly, they don't really look that bad on camera. It's just some of the welds are really, let me see if I can find one that kind of more closely demonstrates what I'm talking about. That one is a pretty bubbly one there. You can see, I mean, it's literally not going to affect the skateability of it whatsoever. It's literally just the visual and the fact that I just spent 7 hours making these and they're not what I was hoping they would be. That's just what bums me out. Sorry, I'm being like a Debbie Downer right now, but I'm just not, that kind of just set me off for some reason. Let me finish painting all these. Let me enjoy the view and kind of take some fresh air in for a little bit, de-stress, and I'll catch you guys in a bit. Okay, we're back. All of my fingerboard products, I always include a little note that I sign, and this one says, I just wanted to formally thank you for the continued support as I learn and progress on my metal fabrication journey. I also want to make it abundantly clear that these rails are blemishes and are not an accurate representation of the quality of work that I strive for. Obviously, when I list them on my website, which they'll be in the description of this video, I'm going to make it very clear that these are blemishes. I'm selling them at a very discounted price. I really don't want people buying these thinking this is like the quality of all of my rails, because it's really not. I am a perfectionist, in case you can't tell, which can be a blessing and a curse, and as I'm sure you are able to tell, these rails are far from perfect. That being said, I really can't say thank you enough for choosing to purchase anyway, and all the revenue that these obstacles make go right back into metalwork material and equipment so that I continue to improve. So again, thank you so much for ordering and supporting me, and the quality can only go up from here. Garrett, I'm gonna go through and sign all of these. Boom, we got like 20 something more to go. I got them all painted, and I kind of want to point out some of the imperfections that you're gonna get if you do decide to move forward with ordering these. Just to add insult on top of injury, I got really impatient during the painting, and I flipped some of them over too soon, so we have some paint chips in some of them. Even the CNC squares in the middle aren't perfect. I still think I need to fine tune the machine a little bit, and the welds are just my least favorite part of all of this. You can see, I mean, they're bubbly. They're not, they're not the quality that I strive for. And I'm just really confused because I didn't do anything different than what I normally do. And you can kind of see the quality difference here. This is one of my past rails, and the fusing of the feet to the legs and the legs to the rail, like everything is so clean and like tucked together, and it looks really, really nice. And I mean, you put that next to something like this, and it's just, I mean, maybe I'm just overthinking and overreacting as I normally do, but I mean, if you look close, they're really just not great. I ran out of paint too on the bottom of some of them. I also got some fingerboard grip tape that I put on the bottom of all of my rails as sort of just padding and keep them from sliding, although these are heavy, so these aren't going to be sliding. I am my own worst critic, and I am very, very well aware of that. It's benefited me. It's a blessing and a curse. That's kind of where I'm going at. I think it's why I'm where I am in my life, is because I am a perfectionist, and if something's not right, I just continue to do it over and over and over again until I get it right. In times like this, like I'm way overly bummed about some fingerboard rails that realistically are fine. There's just some imperfections there, but it's like really bumming me out. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have them up on my website again for 20 bucks. They normally go up for 35. All of the money that these generate, and not even just these, like any of my CNC work or my metal work, like anything that I sell on my website, it all goes straight back into material, equipment, paying off the CNC plasma cutter. Like it all goes back in. I really have found a passion for metalwork, whether it's little fingerboard rails, real rails, stuff like this. Like I've really been enjoying this process, and I want to continue to do so, and I want to be able to make all of my work perfect, or at least as close to it as can be, or should I say as far from that as can be. If anyone watching this video chooses to buy one of these, again, I just want to make it abundantly clear for the 4 millionth time that I'm not proud of these. But that being said, like if you do choose to buy them, like it really is supporting me, and I want to say thank you for that. I hope you guys understand. I hope not being like too dramatic about all this. It just kind of bums me out that we sunk so much time and money. Like that 3/8 inch plate was expensive, bro. It is what it is. Life goes on. I mean, I live such an amazing life, and I'm so grateful for it, and that is all thanks to you guys, so thank you. Hopefully you guys still enjoyed watching this process, and our next batch is pretty much guaranteed to be better. So thank you again. Catch you next video, and peace out.